Hi folks, it's Cruiser777 here reporting to you on the sunny beach of Bolsa Chica. It is January the 29th, 2011. And just wanted to come to you today and talk to you about training for the prepper and some really important fundamentals that you need to know when it comes to prepping and training for a huge natural catastrophe, 2012, the end of destruction of the world. Well, I want to get back down to the basics here. There are three fundamentals that you need to know when it comes to prepping. First thing you need to do is you need to create a plan. Planning is the number one thing that you need to do when it comes to prepping. And you can do a lot of things for it. I'll be going through that in just a minute. The second thing that you need to do is gathering of supplies. After you make your plan and you decide, okay, well, what would I do if this happened, and what would I do with that if that would happen? What type of gear would you need to make sure that you're going to be safe, that you're going to be protected, that you're going to have plenty of food and water and whatnot, and gather all the supplies that you can. And the third part, or third phase of training for a prepper would be the physical element. How are you actually training, getting physical with it? Are you getting out there and doing your drills? So I'm going to talk about all of those categories. The first phase on planning, you need to sit down and talk to your loved ones and people around you. You should get systems prepared, get a plan made. I'm going to reference Team Alpha Task Force, General Biggs. He always talks about what would we do in certain circumstances. He has a book this big, and I'm going to get one too, and it has all this information about certain catastrophes and what would happen if this happened, and what would you need to do and how would you prepare for that. And you can find the majority of that in ready.gov. Also, building of networks and friendships when it comes to planning. Do you have your emergency contacts? You guys talk about it. There's a lot to do here, not only on YouTube, but your friends and family. You need to talk about this with them. Have you sat down and said, hey, I want you as my emergency contact? And I think it's really important that we prep as a family, as friends, as a group. This way, if shit ever did hit the fan, and you're out there, and the world's coming to an end, or people just there's so many problems in the world that WROL or martial law were to take place, and you had to defend yourself or protect yourself from what else was going on in the world. You would have systems and you would have friends that would be there and watch your back. In fact, the Yankee Prepper has a wonderful video about the number one thing that you can do for prepping, and that is your friends, your friendships that you have. And I see how important that is as time goes by. And then another thing that you can do as far as planning goes, I would think about having caches available. Think about what you would do as far as stockpiling. Have all of your systems in place and think about what you would do, and go over your material regularly. Also, the next step, gathering of supplies. You would need to, after you planned, obviously, go to military surplus stores, go to Walmart, gather up your food and water. Either think about bugging in and bugging out, different circumstances. After you thought about all the different catastrophes that could happen and go through them, list by list. Could it be earthquake? Could it be tsunami? Could it be war? Could it be a tornado? And think about how you would react in those circumstances, and get your supplies ready for those circumstances. Which would be more realistic? Well, here in Southern California, it would be more realistic for us to have an earthquake as opposed to a tornado. We don't really have tornadoes. Every once in a while we'll have a funnel spout out in the water and we'll see it touch down, but that's just so rare, and it's never that strong anyway. So we would prep more for earthquakes than we would for a tornado. It's likely that we could have a tsunami. However, we haven't really experienced a tsunami of great proportion. I know in Northern California during El Nino in 97, 98, there was some flood alerts and a small tsunami that had come up onto the onto the water, but it wasn't, it wasn't anything like, they have out in Haiti or in different parts of Indonesia that they've been experiencing recently. So, but just know that it could happen, and what would you do if it did happen? So after you're gathering your supplies, Yankee Prepper also makes I've been watching his series recently about bugging in, and what would you do? What's realistic as far as cooking goes? Do you have your preserves ready? Do you know how to prepare a meal and really bug in as far as you have supplies ready and stockpiling your supplies? I would go to places like Walmart, the 99-cent store. A buddy of mine on YouTube, I think his name is Riston, he went ahead and he did the Dollar Tree store, and he went and got, because we were talking about, if you see my cheap Walmart survival stuff, you'll be able to see some of the stuff I got for like $1 or a few dollars over at Walmart. And so he made a response video in regards to the Dollar Tree store, and he got some really great things there. You'd be surprised about what you could find at just little places like that. I wouldn't recommend, obviously, for your big purchases going to the Dollar Tree store. You want to get most of your knives at military surplus stores, and some real supplies there, like an anti-pack or molly pack, a bug out bag, at different places where they actually sell stuff like that. I would go to REI. I would go to places that cater towards outdoorsy when it comes to being fundamental and having what you need, your necessities. And then also a bigger step when it comes to gathering of supplies, think of a bug out bag. Think of bug out vehicles. What would you ride? What would you drive? How would you get out? And then also warm gear. And then use your gear, use what you have, and then after you've gathered your supplies, number 3 is just get physical with it. And get out there and drill with your team, drill with your friends. Go out, ride your bike, and think about, well, where would I put my caches? How would I escape? What are my escape routes? And then use your stuff and just make little mock drills this way, just like they do for earthquake drills, just like they do for anything. Ride your bike, go hiking, running, push-ups, swimming. All of those things are really important, and they're good. They work out your core. It's important to stay in shape, and I've seen a lot of people talk about, that you need to stay in shape when you need to train for this stuff like you would anything else. This should be. It's a philosophy, it's a way of life, but it should be adopted as a part of your regimen. I mean, I enjoy doing it. I love training for marathons and triathlons and whatnot. But I think that you should think about the third as physical as a very positive part of training for the prepper. So I thank you for listening today, and hope you have a wonderful day. Respond to me, let me know what you think. All right, cruise out.